Hey, Keith here from Impulse Melody. Welcome to episode 2.5. You know it was supposed to snow today? Like 17 inches? I don't think that's gonna happen. It is pretty chilly out though, so let's head inside and warm up with a cup of coffee. Let's go! Just wanted to pop in real quick today and talk about the thing you watched like a minute ago, actually. The new intro bumper. I made the music for it in a very Impulse Melody kind of way. I just went into the studio, started playing something, anything, and just let it sort of go where it wanted to go. Hi, Jasmine. That brings me to the other thing that I want to talk about today, which is my philosophy when it comes to creating. If you're ever afraid to start something, don't be. As long as you go in with the intention of creating something and you stick it out, you will create something. Will it always come out awesome? No. Hi, Jasmine. But as Jake the dog once said,
Dude, sucking at something is the first step towards being sorta good at something.
that really gets to the heart of my philosophy here with Impulse Melody. Create whatever you can, whenever you can, however you can, because life is just too short to put it off for any longer. With that, let's head down to my home studio and I'll show you my process for creating that intro music. Oh, this is so good. Alright, so let's jump right into it. First thing I did was I just pulled up an instance of Serum. That's sort of been my go-to synth lately. I can get a pretty wide variety of sounds out of it. And I knew I was going to want like a lead synthesizer playing something. And so I just pulled that up. I pulled up the default settings. It was just like the default sound, which is like a sawtooth wave. And it sounds like this. That's it. My hand just sort of like fell on that that G major 7 chord, and I started writing around that. And that was basically how I came up with the melody. Alright, so the actual sound that I ended up with was... Cool. After that, I was like, it needs something warm on it. So I was like, what's warmer than an acoustic guitar? Finger picking. And so I grabbed my guitar and I threw down a guitar part. Yep, that's that. Alright. And then, next thing that I moved on to was vocals. I was like, ooh, those like oohs and stuff have been a big part of my production lately. And so let me just try throwing some of those on there. And that was that. Alright. And sort of the way that I approach the vocals is I just like sort of work out the top line on the piano, and then I just go through the chords and I figure out what's missing down below. I don't write it out or anything, I just sort of figure it out on the piano as I go. Next thing I did was I just doubled up the lead with a glockenspiel because I was like, oh, let's make it sound magical. And you get the idea. Alright. Then, the next thing was I was like, oh, I need some rhythm. And I was thinking to myself, I kind of want it to sound a little bit like grungy. I don't know. I just threw in this contact instrument. It's the Abbey Road 60s drummer, and I just started playing some drums. All right, next thing was bass. I was like, I need some sort of bass in here. And so I pulled up another instance of Serum because there's this really punchy, fat, like analog sequenced synth bass sound that I love. It's like one of my go-tos. And I just threw that under there. Okay, and then I was like, oh, you know what this is missing? It's missing some magic. And so I went and grabbed Mtron, which is a really awesome virtual instrument. It's a Mellotron sample. Let's see, I got actually solo this guy. And I just grabbed some preset sounds from there and I started layering them. And that's generally the way I work, is I start with a preset and then I sort of whittle it down to what I need. I don't really create sounds from scratch anymore. I used to do that a lot, but it's way too time consuming. So here we go. Okay, as you can hear, it sort of brings out like that magic sound at the end, the backwards harp and the choir and everything. That I just started looking around the studio and was like, let me grab some real instruments and throw them on there. Alright, so the first thing that I did was I came over to my dresser where I have all sorts of little musical toys, and I saw this guy, and I was like, I know I can play in G major with this, and so I gave it a try. Turns out I do not have the lung capacity for it. Next time. Then I came over here and I was like, oh, what do I got here? A trumpet? I know how to play the trumpet. And so I picked that up. And I was happy with that. Then I came over, I saw the accordion, I thought to myself, hey, this is kind of sounding like The Office, like especially the drums. You know what, why don't I make it sound more like The Office? And so I picked up that, not that I actually play the accordion, but I tried anyway. After that, I started looking around for little percussive things. We got these guys, my shakers. And last but not least, I use this djembe. Just the shaker and the djembe, panned hard left and hard right, to give it some movement. And then I headed back to my computer. Alright, and with all those guys in there, it sounds like this. Alright, and I was basically done, but I wanted a couple of other things, so what I did was I doubled the trumpet part because it felt a little too lonely. I just doubled it on this synth patch here. Yeah, that was basically it, and just sort of did that little arpeggio thing at the end to give it some texture. And at the very end, I was thinking to myself, there's like a hole in the middle of this mix. I'm missing a lot of the mids in the frequency spectrum, so I just grabbed a synth pad, dialed in some heavy mids and threw it on there. And that's it. So no like planning went into this at all. I just started grabbing stuff and throwing it together, and it's not the best thing I've ever done, I don't think, but it came out pretty cool and I'm happy with it. So until next time, this is Keith with Impulse Melody. Don't forget to make music everywhere. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Turn the cameras off. My client is very upset. You hear that? She's very, very upset. You turn those cameras off right now. She cannot work like this. She cannot work like this.